What am I going to paint for Hobby Night this week? There's gotta be, like, something I can find here. It's certainly big enough. What do we have first? Oh, social deduction, huh? Well, that really doesn't have a whole lot of minis, so probably not gonna work. Alright, what's up next? Classic games, not dark enough. What am I gonna find? Oh, okay, this could potentially work. Euro games. Too many meeples. Oh, okay, co-op, this could work for me. Ooh, Mansions of Madness even. I love this game, but I've been trying to move away from the big monster minis though, and that's pretty much what this all is. Oh, great and wise wizard of the game shop, can you please help me find something to paint for Hobby Night this week?
Have you managed to peruse the shelves behind me?
I see. I see what you're saying. Stick to what I know.
2 hours later.
But this guy is so cool, and like, I've been wanting to do some of these, and maybe not. Oh, what about this one? I've been saying that I want to do bigger minis, so like, and these guys are on a big griffin. That could be really cool. Let's see. What's over here? Oh, okay, that one's cool. Yes, this will do it. Morgwath's Blade Coven. I think these ladies will work. In fact, I really like this main girl, although I think she needs a new hair color. So we have her home and she's all primed up, and I think she's going to be a lot of fun. And I picked the dark elves this time around because I've actually never painted any elves. But we're gonna hold off on getting quite to her yet. We're gonna start with the base because I learned from some previous painting videos that I actually like having the base done first in these circumstances where I can just sort of stick the mini down. And I want to have that ability as I'm painting her. So we're gonna start with Nighthaunt Gloom, and we're going to apply this over the entire base, not really caring where we get it because we can do a mild cleanup stage to pull out any colors that we don't want to be this color. Next up, we're going to start with Fenfisian Gray and apply a dry brush over top everything to start picking up some of those details that you see on the ground, getting some of those stones and little recessed or raised areas rather. I'm going to apply one final layer of a dry brush using Ulthuan Gray, just to give us a bit of a brighter highlight, and again, just hit those most raised pieces of the base so we can get a really nice, just subtle gradation of that blue to white tone. With the dry brushing all complete, I'm going to now do a small cleanup phase where I'm going to primarily be picking out and cleaning up the snake that is going through the skull itself, as well as those little vines that are going around the actual stones. The stones I'm actually chose to leave in the blue because in the next step, we're going to do something with them, but I want to have that blue undertone there so that it sort of shines through and works with the color palette that we've already got going on our base. And as you can see, we're going to move on to Space Wolf Gray now, and this we're going to use over our stones just to darken them a little bit so that they stand a little bit apart from the ground, but aren't too drastically different in color palette. For those little vines that we had cleaned up earlier, we're going to use Dark Angel's Green and apply that in 2 layers just to make sure that we get a nice deep green color out of them. This took a little bit of time because they are very delicate, so I used a very tiny brush and just tried to go as slowly as I could to make sure I was even and clean. I wanted to make sure that the snake was differentiated from the vines, so I'm going to go ahead and take Orc Flesh and apply that over the entire little slithery body of our snake. Next, we're going to grab some Skeleton Horde and apply this to the skull. With our base complete, it's now time to move on to the Witch Elf herself, and we're going to start using Black Templar. Now, I know I did say that I wanted to attach her to the base to make it easier to paint her, and I'll get to that, but at first I wanted to get some of my darker colors, specifically this black, because it's going to be going on her feet, and I wanted to make sure that those colors were done first before attaching to her base so I don't accidentally mess up and get any of those colors on what I just completed already. So for the time being, we're going to keep her separate and get these covered. Sticking with our dark colors, we're going to move on to Shyish Purple, and we're going to apply this to the loincloth between her legs, as well as the sleeve she has on one of her arms. The final color that I want to apply before getting her attached to the base is Basilicanum Gray, and we're going to put this on her weapons as well as the other portion of her leg that is not the armored side, so that one that has the armor piece, the back side, we're going to make that all gray to give it a little bit of a differentiation from the other side because I like a little bit of asymmetry. And here's where you can see that I actually remember that I didn't actually paint that sleeve on her arm like I thought I had, so I go back and get it real quick. I decided to do one final cleanup stage actually before I got her fully attached to the base, so we're going to take our Wraithbone and just do a bit of touch-up so that we can get rid of any of those darker color tones on her flesh or the places we are going to put lighter colors. I debated for a little while what I was going to do with her flesh because I wanted to make sure she kept the pale flesh tone that dark elves typically have, and none of my contrast paints were really going to work for that. So ultimately what I decided was to take a larger portion of Pallid witch flesh and then do a dab of Rakarth flesh and mix those together to get a nice, subtle, pinky hued, very pale flesh tone, which we just applied to obviously all of her flesh. This was probably the most satisfying part of the miniature painting for me, and that is working on her hair. We're going to take Magos Purple and apply this all over the entire hair, and it works so well. The contrast paint really, really works with these types of miniatures where they've got really nice deep recesses because it can settle and create a nice highlight and shade for you really well by itself. And I just think she's looking really good so far, but I want to push the hair's color a little bit more because I do want it to be a little bit more on the cool tone. So we're going to now apply a layer of Druchii Violet over the entire hair as well. With her hair complete, it's now time to move on to all the remaining armor bits that she has on her that we're going to paint using Iyanden yellow. So this is going to be the headdress, the piece around her waist, her shoulder pad, her knee pad, and then of course the hilts of her weapons. I wanted to add a little bit of a shine to the armor, and I thought Cryptek Armoushade would work very well because it's a little bit of a warm tone. It'll work with the Iyanden yellow color that we've already applied down, but it'll give it that little hint of a shimmer to make it look actually a little more like gold. Our figure is coming along very nicely, but I really want to start adding a bit more detail work and really start popping some of the features on her. So we're going to take Reikland's Fleshade and apply this to all of her skin to start giving her a little bit more depth to all of her features. In particular, I did want to actually make sure to get all of the recesses of her muscles so that we really could show the definition there, because She's a really beefy lady, and I really wanted to accent that and make sure that her muscles were defined so she looked strong. For the eyes, I decided to go back to Magos Purple, and we're going to apply that to give her sort of a glowy eye effect. And I think it works out pretty well. This is probably the one thing that I might have done differently if I do it again, and I probably will do differently for the rest of her sisters and her warband. But I think it works pretty well for her, and I do end up doing this in a couple of layers to make sure that I get at least a good effect. Now it's time to give her teeth a little bit of a highlight by adding a bit of ceramite white. There are 3 final things that I want to do to this miniature to really finally get her to pop it the way that I want her to, and the first is taking a bit of Necron compound and applying this over the metal black portions that we did, just to give those rivets and everything, and also the weapons, a bit of a highlight and sheen, just to give that slight metallic edge but not overpower the nice contrast work that we've gotten down. We're going to do the same thing to the yellow portions of her armor, because while the Cryptek Armoushade worked well, I do want it to brighten back up a little bit, so Gehenna's Gold will help us do that and add a bit of a red tone to the armor as well, which I do really like. It'll help match her hair a bit more. And then last but not least, we're going to take Eldar flesh and we're going to dry brush this very lightly over top her skin, just to add a little bit of peachiness back to her, because we don't want her to look undead. We just want her to look very pale. I know I said I was finished, but then I was looking at her and I was like, I really want to do something with her weapons. So I pulled out Blood for the Blood God and applied it to the edge of both weapons to make it look like she just stabbed somebody, because I felt like it was thematically appropriate. And it gave a little bit of extra spice to the mini, which I really enjoy. And here she is. I am very happy with how this came out. I was a little nervous because she was so small from what I had just done, and so I was like, am I gonna be able to do all this detail? Like, am I gonna have a steady enough hand? Because I do sometimes have like issues with my hand shaking sometimes when I'm doing fine detail work, and with just all the small tiny things on this mini, I was mildly concerned about it, but I think I got her looking really, really nice. I can't wait to paint up the rest of the warband, because I love all of the minis in that warband. The sculpts are all fantastic. I just wanted to start with her because she kind of had the sort of classic look, and I really wanted to accomplish getting that classic dark elf look with the purple and the blacks and the golds and everything. I know that they're order and everything in Age of Sigmar currently, and so they have a little bit more of the like lighter tones and brighter golds, but I wanted to just really make this pop, and I really think I managed to do that. I'm very, very pleased with her. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and I will see you guys next week with another news video and another new painting video. Bye guys!